Obi and the mermaid's touch. The first time I saw them together, her hand was on his chest, and he was trembling. She leaned into him, her long hair flowing like black silk, her lips almost brushing his. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I couldn't look away. Obi was my cousin. We grew up together, fishing on the same shores, playing in the same streams. He was the best fisherman in the village, strong and patient. But something changed after that day. It started when Obi decided to fish alone at a hidden cove. He said the fish there were bigger, and no one else dared go there. The elders warned us about that place. They said it was where the spirits of the sea gathered. But Obi wasn't afraid. He laughed at the stories and called them old women's tales. One evening, he didn't come back. The next morning, I went looking for him. I followed the path to the cove, where the rocks were slippery and the waves crashed hard. That's when I saw her. She wasn't like anything I'd ever seen. Her upper body was that of a woman, smooth, brown skin that glowed in the sunlight. Her eyes were bright green, like the sea itself. Her hair, black and wet, clung to her shoulders. But below her waist, she wasn't human. Her tail shimmered with scales that reflected every color of the rainbow. She was sitting on a rock, laughing softly. Obi was kneeling in front of her in the shallow water, like he was under some kind of spell. She reached out, her fingers trailing across his chest. He shivered, but he didn't move away. I should have called out to him, but I couldn't. My voice was stuck in my throat. She leaned closer to him, her lips brushing his ear as she whispered something I couldn't hear. He nodded like a child, obedient and eager. Then she kissed him. It wasn't just a kiss. It was like the ocean itself wrapped around them. The waves grew louder, crashing harder against the rocks. The air felt heavy, thick with something I couldn't name. When she pulled away, Obi was smiling. I'd never seen him smile like that before. It was like he'd forgotten everything else, his family, the village, even me. I ran back before they could see me. I didn't tell anyone what I saw, but Obi wasn't the same after that. He stopped fishing with the rest of us. He started going to the cove every evening, no matter how much we warned him. His eyes were always distant, like he was dreaming even when he was awake. One night, I followed him again. This time, I stayed hidden behind the rocks, determined to see what was going on. She was waiting for him, sitting in the water with her tail glimmering under the moonlight. When Obi waded in, she wrapped her arms around his neck. I told you I'd come back, he said softly, like he was reassuring her. And I told you, she replied, her voice smooth as the waves. You belong to me now. She pulled him closer, and this time, he didn't hesitate. They kissed again, longer, deeper. The water around them seemed to glow faintly, like it was alive. I don't know how long I watched, but something about it felt wrong and right at the same time. She wasn't human, but the way she touched him, the way he touched her back, it was like they were made for each other. But then I saw her eyes. When she looked at him, there was something there, something hungry. Not love, not really. Desire, maybe, but also possession. After that night, Obi didn't come home. The elders said the mermaid had taken him, and there was nothing we could do. They said he'd been warned, but he didn't listen. I still go to the cove sometimes, hoping to find a trace of him. And sometimes, when the moon is full, I see her sitting on the rocks, combing her hair with a shell. I never get too close. But once, I thought I saw Obi in the water, swimming beside her. He looked happy. And maybe that's enough.